Jemimah, hello.
Hi, how are you going?
I'm doing great. Thank you for doing this interview with me. You are speaking to me all the way from Australia.
I am. I'm in Melbourne, Australia.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we begin this amazing interview with Jemimah, don't forget to subscribe.
So Jemimah, you are here because I thought you were cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're like a little celebrity. Like you have grown a lot of following and interest, and so you're basically helping people to market themselves. Is that right?
Yeah, so I really work with people to help get mass exposure, and I did that because that's what I learned how to do for myself. So for over 10 years, I worked in government, but I'd done it for 10 years, right? And I was getting really tired, and I was 30 and I was grumpy all the time, and I was like, I'm gonna do something else. And so
if you're 30 and you're grumpy all the time, you need a change of career.
Yeah, right. So I left and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try some stuff. So I started a few like side hustle businesses of making jewelry and doing things. And then I grew my audience really quickly. And then I was, teaching other people about business, and I was like, well, if I could learn it, and people are coming to me who have been in business a lot longer, I just really methodically could understand, you can't have a website if you don't have a Facebook, and you need to have this first. And I could really organize what needed to be done in what order. Started this podcast, and then the first week we got like 1,000 downloads, and the second week it was 10,000.
Wow.
The third week it was like, and we were like, this is normal. Is this happening? And then like TV stations started to call, and then like radio segments a cat heard. And what I realized, it was all very formulaic. So what I had done for the jewelry business, and what I'd done for like personal branding, and what I'd done for the podcast, I had done across all of my businesses. The right tools at the right time in the right order. And I thought, well, if I can do this myself, I can surely teach other people to do it. So really came up with the mass exposure formula, and when, you've got to know what you do, you've got to know what you're great at, but you've got to know how to tell other people about it in an authentic way.
You need to put yourself out there and do say, I am the best. Like,
yeah, I'm great.
You need to work with me.
Yeah, and if you're like, if I'm the best is too far for most people, which it is for the most part, I'm really good at this one thing that I do, and particularly women, because we have been told to be, from the time we were children, we were told not to be bossy. We were told not to be, not like you're showing great leadership here. It's like,
oh, isn't she cute?
Oh, she's got leadership skills. We're teaching our little girls to wear pink and play nice, and to not have opinions and be seen and not heard. And I've seen a lot of men, knowing that we're in the girls club, seen a lot of men who are like, I'm so good at what I do, and I see their results, I'm like, mediocre. I could do better than that, and I even do this job. I'm like, your inflated ego is a real problem for business owners, but mostly like it's just not cool. If you're like, I kind of know what I do, I kind of have the social media, if you're building a house on that thing is going to collapse in about 12 months, and that's because you're not being very clear. You need to think of like what problem do you solve? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your business? That's the concrete. What problem do you solve? What do you sell? And who you are as an identity is the concrete. Then we can start to review how you can start to build the rest of the house. Because this one, if this isn't set, then everything else is just going to fall over in a matter of time. And you're going to spend a lot of time trying to build a house and slap things together just to try. And you might get some stuff up. I'm not saying you won't, but it will implode quite gloriously about 12, 18 months later.
Jemimah, you are living your purpose.
Yes, 100%.
Awesome. I'm very interested to understand how you found that purpose, because now you are where you are, and you're helping people with their businesses and their marketing, and you're doing an amazing job. Like when I landed on your website and I saw your little video, I was like, damn.
She's been everywhere.
Yeah, she's good. I need to interview this girl. Yeah,
she's on it.
She's cool. There's a lot of passion and energy, and I was like, this is really cool. And you were so approachable as well. So thank you. Thanks a lot for that, because there's a lot of people out there who are less of a celebrity than you are, and they just think that for some reason they're too good for you. So
I think there's a bit of that, but that's, again, fear and ego are closely related, right? Like, I'm so scared if people are going to see through it. And I think you look at like Gary V's killing it, because he's like, I don't have all the answers.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck what you think. are we good?
You don't have a typical business background, which I think is fascinating because you've worked in government. I contract for United Nations as well, so I understand the, being a civil servant and being stuck in that. It's a big structure, it's a big organization. Especially you were into law enforcement, so that's just so different from starting a jewelry business and then going to exposing yourself, on a mass level, and then learning how to create a successful business for yourself. And then you went on to teaching others how to create a successful business for themselves. How did you come to that point where you were like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go and make jewelry?
It's such a wild story. When you lay it out like that, I'm like, it is absolutely wild. You're absolutely correct. So it really was the next right thing. Every single time. Like, it was not like, I've got this plan, this is what I'm going to do. I literally just went, what is the next correct thing for me to do right now? I had a bit of a chance encounter with a silversmith. I made a ring with him and I was like, I want to do this. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I loved it. And I started a little started doing classes in how to make jewelry and silversmithing and learning how to do that. And I was like, this is really fun. And originally it was just pieces for myself and maybe immediate family members. And then my family members and friends would say like, oh, I got it from this girl and she can make you one. And then I was doing and then it became bigger and people were asking for things. And I'm at work thinking about like making jewelry, and I'm making jewelry thinking about work, and I'm kind of hating this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take like some leave. I'll take 6 months. I'll go make some jewelry. I'll feel better about it. I'll come back. I did not go back. Like, I'm building Facebooks and I'm learning about Instagrams and I'm throwing myself into blogs and videos and YouTubes and all these kind of things. And then suddenly I'm like, holy gosh, this is amazing. And then other people like, how have you done this? I'm getting followers. I'm being picked up at marketplaces. Shops are selling my stuff. And I was like, I've kind of got a natural talent for this.
You do. Everyone has a genius. And you have a business genius.
So I wanted to I was like talking to people and I was like, and I was answering the same questions, like always asking questions about social media. I was like, what if I could do like video or like a radio show? I was like, I'll do a podcast. That thing exploded. It was like 1 listener, then 10,000, like 2 weeks later. And we were like, what is happening? I'd been on TV a bunch of times. I was getting radio interviews all the time. I was getting book offers. I was getting these things on the table. And I was like, this is not that difficult if you have a plan. And if you know what you're good at, you own your shit, you own your confidence, you know who you are. I knew where my lines were. I knew what I was willing to talk about. I knew how far I was willing to go. I knew what vulnerabilities I had and which ones I wasn't going to deal with. So it was really just the next right thing every time. Because I fell into alignment, I fell into where I should be, I fell into what I loved, and I just kept going. Awesome. And it has not steered me wrong yet.
This is very inspiring. Thank you so much, Jemimah, especially for people who are going to be watching and wanting to create their own little business, or perhaps already have started their own little business. Like, even for me, I'm a coach, but that's my business. And just hearing you talk about how you came from A to B to C and
it's not a straight line, and it's all of that stuff, and it's so what is the next thing you should do? And it's just that gut feeling, and you've got to trust it. Like, if you're feeling your gut feeling right now, you're like, I don't want to go into do business with that person, don't do it. It is that, like, if you feel like I really want it and it doesn't necessarily make sense, i.e. I want to go make jewelry, I have history in law enforcement, follow that, because that's your soul telling you what it wants.
Absolutely.
And we've been told to ignore that shit for a very long time.
You said the word no sense, and what I actually teach people through my coaching is to access a state of innocence. And innocence, if you divide it, it's in no sense, which doesn't make any sense. And that is the only place where you can access your intuition and let it be. Just let it come to you. But if you're constantly trying to make sense of everything, you're not creating the space for your intuition to come to you. That's what I teach. So it's awesome.
It's amazing. It's such an alignment moment.
Absolutely.
I listened to a book, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, and Tina Fey is SNL writer. She's amazing. She's very funny. She's a very strong female. And she talked about improv and like comedy and stand-up and stuff in a book that I was listening to. And I was like, I have to do this. You have to do it. I don't know why, but I need to do it. I did classes and it changed my life. Changed every element of my life, my relationships, my friendships, made me a stronger person. It made me all of these things. And I was like, if I hadn't listened to that book and I've listened to my gut of, I need to do this. Yeah. And it was just, again, just listening, paying attention, and it changed everything.
What challenges have you faced? Because I know that, it all sounds like a smooth ride, but it's never really a smooth ride.
The biggest one for me, like the biggest issue that I have faced the entire time has been other people. And it has been this expectation that I had of other people had of me, but also then I had of myself. And what that looked like was something that kind of played out was, sort of two real pivotal conversations. One was my dad coming to me and saying, you've had a really stressful job for a while, maybe this will do you some good, but you'll go back. And I remember knowing intuition, I'm not going back to that. It's not, gun in my head, I'm not doing it. Like, no. And this was weeks out, like a few weeks out. I knew I wasn't going back. The next one was my poor friend Andrew, who says to me, he just sort of says across the table, and this is the final straw moment, right? Because I had this question hundreds of times before, and this is the moment I am done. And I feel so bad for him because he just got like really just
lashed out.
Absolutely. I think of like just how black my eyes went. I was like, no. He looks at me and he says, so let me get this right. You worked in law enforcement for 10 years. You traveled the world doing that. And then you start jewelry and start a podcast, and then you're like coaching people? Explain that to me. And I was like, no. And I was like, I'm done. And it was in this moment, and I hadn't been able to articulate it before, that this was the moment that the thing that I had been feeling, I was able to go, I get it. The longer I spent explaining my shit to people, the less I was doing my job. It was really simple to me. The biggest issues I had were other people not believing in me, or me not believing in myself, were the really two big ones. And don't get me wrong, there is a time to listen to other people.
Yeah.
But the really clear rule on this one is, if you wouldn't go to them for advice, don't ever take their opinion.
Write that shit down.
Write that down now. 100%.
Don't go for financial advice, to someone who's broke. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a question, of my own, because I think other women will relate. So I see that you've done a lot of speaking gigs, and that's kind of like how you market yourself. Like, you've decided to go mass.
Yeah. Well, the one-on-one conversation like now is really valuable.
Of course. Yeah.
We've both got audiences, we can share with each other. Like, this is the valuable stuff.
Yeah.
They're sitting down and having a coffee every day with a different person is rubbish.
Because you're out there a lot on TV and radio and in front of very large groups of people, I was wondering, how did you deal with the being seen aspect, and like, for example, here in London, you seem to be just so simple and, straightforward, and, there's not too much fuss about you. What you see is what you get. It does what it says on the tin, and there's no accessorization,
intentionally so
embellishment and all sorts of things, and I really fucking believe in that. I think if you have something interesting to say, it doesn't matter whether you're wearing a fucking hoodie or not. I think there's a place and time for like looking professional, obviously, but I think sometimes people take it to the next level, and they look the part, but they actually are not the part. Your self-consciousness around, how you look as a woman, your body, the clothes you wear, and comparing yourself to other speakers who are more sexy or whatever.
So pretty much all you're talking about now is personal brand. So let's dive into that a little. Firstly, what you see is what you get, and that has been a statement for me. As long as I was adding value, I wasn't too fussed about, I did run a brush through my hair tonight. Every photo that you go and have a look at me, I will largely be dressed similar. My branding is purple, which is my logo color. My font is Knockout 28. My hex code, I have an actual code for that, but my outfits are always black with silver, so there's jewelry on always, denim, or a floral print is always in there somewhere.
Okay.
If you look at any photo of me, any media kit, any stuff like that exists somewhere in there, because it's naturally what I did. I always had like long hair, I always have nice delicate jewelry on, I always have makeup on, but I never go over the top with that because that was never who I was. And never
that's not you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to roll out of bed and spend 4 hours like Kim Kardashian. If you see her without hair and makeup done, I'm serious, it's jarring. You're like, who is that? Now, let me be very clear here. You have to look good, not for other people, because if you don't, it's distracting. If you look weird, if you look
like shit,
you've got like a hair out here for the whole interview, guess what you guys are going to be focused on? This. My job is to get you to just pay attention to me. That's not glitter boots and big heels and all that kind of stuff. It's actually get you to listen to what I'm saying. I'm giving you a hand by doing that. That can be things like, if you have, I gave blood once. I gave blood once and I wore a shirt that was a little bit too high. I had to take my jacket off because of the lights. So I take my jacket off, I don't think about it, I look down, I see a bandage. I was like, hey guys, and I drew attention. I was like, just so you know, did my public service for today, gave some blood, if anyone's wondering what the bandage is. I've addressed it, I've acknowledged it, I've gotten it out of the way, you can now pay attention. Otherwise it's gonna be like, did she get a tattoo? Did she get stabbed? Has she gone to the hospital?
Is that a pimple?
What's going on? How do I make sure that I'm ready to go on stage? I have the same rule for a first date as I have for going to speak on stage. It is the final mirror check. You know, if for anyone who's single, I am back on the dating market after like 7 years, right? And I had like first dates and I was so scared. And I use this technique when I was single, and so now I use it when I go on speaking, and now I'm using it again for dating, and it still works. My job is to go in front of the mirror before I go and I check everything. Teeth, check your shirt, check holes, check buttons. I have walked on stage and my pants have ripped minutes before. I'm not even joking. Barack Obama's senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett, helped stitch my pants up once at an event. So like, I've had crises and you would never know because I've done the final moment check, right? You do the look, you make sure there's no lashes, your hair's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, this has to be okay. No lipstick on your teeth, your shirt's buttoned up, your bra's not seen, and you drop it. You've done as much as you can do. Yeah. Your job now is to be on the stage. And if you aren't there, they know. In a heartbeat, they know. If you ever seen something like a deer in headlights, that's what happens, and audiences can feel it. Audiences want you to succeed because there is nothing worse for an audience member if you're watching a car wreck happen on stage, because you are feeling that too, right? They want you to win because they don't want it to be bad otherwise. Don't get in your head, pick a personal brand that works for you, that's not too far, that's not too much work, and really get your personal brand stuff. This is big on the stuff that I teach, is like, get that right, because if you get that right, it's not going to be work for the rest of your life.
So what would you tell your younger self in relation to business, or anyone, as a matter of fact, anyone who's, you know, thinking of starting a business? What's like the first thing?
I wish I'd gotten a coach earlier. I wish I had gotten like paid for things earlier. So just to have the foundation. So I like spent weeks trying to build a website, right? And it was still shit. Then I have to pay someone else, and I paid like $2,000, and it's the best thing in the world. So I mean, paying for things is not a bad thing to get that thing right. You have to know your business. Like I know how to make every aspect of my jewelry, from purchasing all the way to stockists, but I don't have time to be doing that now. I outsource a lot of that. It's still handmade, it's still all of that. I still do all of that, but I don't want to be the person who drives it around. I don't want to be the person who's putting it in cards. I don't want it to be that thing. I want someone else to be able to help me with that. You need to be working on the bigger picture of the business, not the day-to-day operations, especially if you want it to be a big thing. Honestly, the biggest life lesson I've got is you just have to follow the next right thing. Every single time, the next right thing will change your life.
Yeah, sounds good. What is a cool girl to you?
Someone who just loves what they're doing and is in alignment with where they should be. Just living their best life, honestly. Like, it's really that simple. It doesn't matter if your thing is like, I want to, you know, wash dogs for the rest of my life. Go and do it. Like, it's living to true who you are and like your dream. Compassion is a huge one for your fellow cool girls. Collaboration is everything for me. You know, competitiveness is one thing, but collaboration is king, especially for women. For a long time, we've been pitted against each other. women were basically told for a long time, we're like, we're in competition. One of you will get the job. It's between you two. I'm like, don't let people fool you. You're not against the other woman. You're against everybody. Like, so women are now figuring this out, and we're teaming up. And we're like, let's work together. So I think collaboration, compassion, and just all-round sense of alignment with who you are and where you're going to be. These things will absolutely change your life.